You know, I mean, that's the students, that's where they're at in their lives. I mean, we've got to keep up with our kids. So we use a lot of technology in the classrooms. Standards, as I mentioned before, standards were developed to give a guideline for teachers to teach, and along the way it's turned into here are the tested standards, and here are the the expectations that our students have to have, which is a good thing. But there's so many things that are just based on assessments in the end. Of course, we had art. Art was a big thing on Fridays. Friday afternoons, we got to do an art project, and there wasn't a whole lot of history behind the art. It was just, this is a fun thing to do. I remember our teacher would come in with her art book that she had created in college, and we'd flip through and go, oh, I want to make this. Okay, let's,
That was a class in college.
It was a class. Yes, it was.
How to teach art.
And now there's no time for art. I will say some teachers do fit in art if it can tie to a reading lesson or it can tie to a math lesson, but there's no time for that because of the stringent requirements that now the teachers and ultimately the students are having to face. Our day now, they have an hour of whole group instruction in reading. They have an hour of small group instruction in reading. They have 15 to 30 minutes of individualized reading where they're reading on their own level, a book at their desk. And that's reading, and that's every day. Math is at least an hour, if not an hour and a half. Science and social studies get maybe 30 minutes to an hour. And PE is every day. PE, whenever we were kids, we may have had it every other day. We may have had it once a week, and it was for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and now it's 30 minutes instruction every single day. And so the day itself looks much different. And I go back to that, the stringent requirements and the rigor that has been placed. Of course, punishment. I remember, if kids got in trouble, if they were called out in the hallway, everyone was quiet in the classroom so we could hear that paddle. Because we knew it was coming, and it was the teacher giving it, or maybe the principal would be there, maybe they weren't. And now, we can still, corporal punishment is still allowed. There's lots of hoops that we must go through and lots of things that must happen before that all takes place. But I'll tell you, the State Department right now is telling us, ooh, we strongly recommend you not go that direction. But it's not allowed, but I can see us going that direction. So it rarely happens. And unfortunately, we see more and more parents that they don't want that to happen, and in fact, it's not their children's fault. So we have lots of things we have to battle if we think we're going to give swats. I know at the high school, whenever I was in high school, we had students that would come. They had been drinking, or drugs were unless I was just oblivious to it. I can't say that we knew. I don't know that I knew anyone that really did drugs in high school, and now we have officers that are full-time, the high school and the middle schools, and they do locker checks on a regular basis. They bring in the drug dog. They walk the parking lots. That drug dog can find drugs in cars now on a regular basis. That's happening. It's a whole different world at the high school level even than it was whenever I was in high school. I know that of course, policies, you'll always have policies that you have to follow, but anymore, the policies we have policies for sexual harassment, racial harassment, bullying. We have policies on drug testing. We have policies on how you're going to handle, numerous situations that really were a non-issue whenever we were kids. Of course, we even have policies for pregnant students, for unwed mothers. We have policies for married students and how things are going to take place, and basically just protecting their rights. Something that I would have never dreamed would be in place. We go to lunches, and our lunches were, now I attended St. Anthony School from 3rd grade through 6th grade. And our lunches were cooked directly in our school, and then it was a big deal as a student that we got to help serve. We were servers as 6th graders. And so lunches now, they have strict regulations that have been placed on them of what they can and can't serve. There's a wellness policy that we have that states, teachers can't, or I shouldn't say can't, they shouldn't give candy as a reward. That's encouraging obesity. Parents are not allowed to bring homemade goodies of any kind, for birthday parties, Christmas parties. They have to be prepackaged. Everything is very spelled out in that aspect. I mentioned our kids are having PE every day, and part of that is because of the wellness policy that is in place. The PE teachers also have a bullying curriculum that they teach, the PE teachers as well as our counselors. Something that has been just recent in the past 3 or 4 years. And I can't say that bullying wasn't around when I was a kid, but we didn't have a curriculum for it. And so that's really become, a big thing and come to the forefront with all the violence and things that have happened in the schools over the years across our nation. Unfortunately, we find out that many times that's a result of bullying. And so we have a curriculum in place now that teaches students about bullying and bullying awareness. We now have class size targets that were placed by, we have a Board of Education policy that has a recommended target enrollment for each class, and it depends on the grade level. In kindergarten, our target is 18 per class, and 1st grade's 19. But when I was a 5th grade teacher, my very first class I had 27. And across town, I was at McKinley, my husband taught at Washington, he taught 5th grade, he had 15 students, and I had 27. And so, there's obviously, class size makes a big difference in the instruction that can be delivered, but the policy now allowing for a cap size, and it really is a target instead of a cap, because we've had to raise the cap. We've had to raise that target depending on the number that we've had enrolled. The past few years, because of the enrollment increasing, I know in 4th grade right now, the cap size, the target enrollment is 23, and they are up to, I think, 27 or 28 per class in every class, and that's 16 4th grade classes in town. And so because of that, they've had to raise that target enrollment. Otherwise, we wouldn't have a class for them. And so they're looking at having to hire additional teachers in the future so that we can absorb those students and not have such large classes. So that obviously has changed, which then we have 7 elementaries, and within those 7 elementaries, once we hit that target enrollment, then students that may live in the MacArthur district, if we are full in for instance, our 3rd grade classes this year, I had 22 in each class enrolled, plus I had 12 additional students that lived in MacArthur district that I couldn't keep. We didn't have room. And so they now are attending another elementary in town. Whereas in kindergarten, I have 4 sections of kindergarten, and so we have students that come to us that may not live in our district, but we have the opening, and so those students are bused to us from across town or from a different district. And so, it's a domino effect. We want to keep those class sizes down, but in return, we have those effects that we deal with. I think I've done enough talking, but that's just some of the things that I want to highlight that have changed since I was a kid.